Gauteng government says it has lost millions of rands to misconduct. Premier Panyaza Lesufi today briefed the media on completed forensic investigations by the various departments in the province. 88 public servants have so far had to undergo consequence management, while 55 criminal complaints, we understand, have been laid with police. Let's take this further with Vuyo Mhaga, spokesperson for the office of the Gauteng Premier. Vuyo, welcome to SABC News. So, is this a tip of the iceberg as far as misconduct in the Gauteng provincial government is concerned, and potentially outright corruption?
Well, we continue to do investigations as we have promised really in the past, that once those investigations get concluded, we are able to obviously give it to the public. This is what we have done really in the past. If you remember the Anglo-Ashanti, that report is public, TLTC, in terms of the roads and transport, as well as the Tembisa. So we continue to do that work. This is really about 47 reports out of 177 that were there. So as and when we finish, we're able to then send that and give it to the law enforcement agencies to proceed.
So it's likely that the province has a bigger problem in this regard.
No, it's more likely. I mean, if you look at the sample of about 177, obviously some of the reports might be fine positive, others might not, but it really ranges for many things. So we really don't want to leave anything to chance. Maybe someone really cheating the system of not putting on leave when he's supposed to be on leave, or someone basically driving a vehicle without authority. But it obviously goes to bigger things like issues around, corruption, and then the mismanagement of the funds of the state. So it's a very whole range of things that we basically sit on. These are the reports that we've actually done.
Let's stay with that then, the distinction that you're making, because you've got 88 officials who've had to face consequence management. What were their exact offences? And these 55 cases now referred to law enforcement. What was done there that was so grave that it now requires investigation by law enforcement?
Well, as I'm saying, I mean, others will differ. If you look around that, there's around issues of fraud in different departments. Really, you've got Department of Health, I think about 16 or so. You've got Department of Social Development. You've got other Department of Education. And really, this report, for the benefit of the viewers, really date back to 2016. So they obviously predate the current administration. But these are the reports that the SIU, also the Asset Forfeiture Unit, have been actually working with us to make sure that we deal with some of those things. But the chunk of it, if you look around that, is around the issues of corruption.
What are the most serious offences where the corruption is concerned? What did those people do? For example, when you look at the 47 forensic reports in the province, they relate to the health department in particular. Why is it so vulnerable? And I ask that question in the context, you might recall, of what we had been covering as recently as a year ago regarding the Tembisa hospital, where it appeared there had been large-scale corruption possibly.
Well, really, remember, health and education are relatively quite big departments, and obviously they will be prone by the nature of their size, in particular when you have to deal with the issues of fraud. So that issue obviously become part of the issues that affects that particular department. But we are quite happy that some of the monies have been required, and we are quite happy that we have also strengthened our relationship with the Asset Forfeiture Unit to make sure that we continue to recover the monies. And I must actually commend the work that is done by the SIU, because they've been working with us throughout the process. And I think that relationship is really starting to bear fruit.
I'm going to circle back to those 55 cases referred to law enforcement, because I'm not hearing you on what precisely is alleged to have happened. Fraud is quite broad. What are the specific offences, not in all 55 cases, but in perhaps the worst cases there?
No, really, obviously, undermining the internal processes, and in the process, getting some monies irregular, which is literally fraud around that. So that's one of some of the issues that you can actually do. So one of the things that we have said is literally around the fraud part in terms of the mismanagement of the funds of the state.
What has the Gauteng government done? Because some of these cases, as you say, this is a retrospective look at things that may have happened, in fact, well more than 5 years ago. But realistically, what is in place today in June of 2025 to prevent a repeat of some of these alleged crimes?
You'll remember not so long ago, we obviously tabled a report that is done by the independent body, So you've got a team of outside, employees of the state, quite, eminent people within our country that are assisting us to put systems and also to continue to do, to make sure that we are actually put necessary preventative measures in place. So we've been doing that work, and it's continued to be an ongoing work. For example, the issue of the open tender system will have happened post the 2016 when some of these reports will have came. The issue of literally taking HODs, accounting officers, through the lifestyle audit. Last year, we then introduced another element, which is around the supply chain management officials to deal with that. So we continue to improve the internal system to make sure that we mitigate the level of corruption within the system in particular. That's what I'm saying, that we have done something that is outside the norm across our country.
So that's the internal work. How high up, how senior are the people who are now being investigated in the criminal matters?
Well, if you will, to take the report of the report around the what we call the Anglo Ashanti. I mean, there you had your DDGs, and you had quite senior SMS people that really literally take decision and actually sign documents. So people that are entrusted with the funds of the state. So we go as senior as possible, including, by the way, in the executive. I mean, the executive have been taken to the lifestyle audit, including today. The new MEC was informed that now there is a new MEC, he must also go through the similar process. All HODs will have went there. So it's not necessarily your small guys that it's normally argued that is the case. It's actually quite a broader people.
Are there MECs
from the Premier's level?
Are there MECs then, current or former, who are subject to these investigations? And if so, what becomes of them in the interim, especially if they are people who possibly form part of the provincial executive still?
No. Remember, the ones that will have gone, and the report was out. It was even done during Premier Makura's era. The report was shared with the public. They were fine, and obviously some of them, the process is being concluded by the SIU, because it's not done by ourselves. It's done by the SIU. But as I'm saying, no one is left behind. So anyone who is really found at fault, we are able to basically press on them.
Vuyo Mhaga, spokesperson for the office of the Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesufi, good to have your time. Thank you.